All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have kind of a slightly different video. Instead of a ball review or like kind of another challenge video, I'm going to be explaining what's in my league, tournament, and college arsenal, and kind of explaining my thought process of why I picked these and why they're in my bag. So yeah, so without any further ado, let's head out to the lanes and see what my bag is. I'm going to start with my college stuff because I'm getting ready to head off to college again. So we'll start with that. So the first ball out of my bag in every college tournament is the Hammer Effects Tour. You're going to see a trend because all my stuff is Brunswick stuff because my school assigned the Hammer, which is why all my ball reviews have been Hammer and Brunswick stuff. So you might have seen my review earlier about this ball, but this ball has just kind of been usable on everything. It hasn't really never had a look. So yeah, we're just gonna throw one shot with this, setting about 20. This lane's not fresh, so we're just gonna get a read to see what it has. I mean, you can kind of see why that ball's been in my bag for so long. I mean, it kind of just looks good on everything, no matter what the condition is. I haven't really been shut out with that ball. I've thrown on long pattern, short pattern. It's kind of looked good on everything. So we're gonna get one more shot with the Effector. I mean, it's kind of like the modern day benchmark piece. Now they've kind of moved to like the mild asymmetric route. So the thing of this is basically your modern day IQ. As I missed the headpin right. All right, we're gonna locate a better one now. It might as well further in. There we go. All right, well that was a better shot, but yeah, this ball has kind of looked good for me on everything, so that's why it's the first ball out of my bag. Because if I have no clue what the lane is, because most other than the college tier ones that we bowl in, we don't know the pattern until the day of, and even like postseason stuff, we don't know what pattern we're on until after the tournament. So that ball's the first one out of my bag. It gives me a read of what the lane is if I need to go up in my bag or if I need to go earlier, which would be either my urethane ball or my the ball that we'll see next, actually, which is Brunswick Mesmerized. Now, this ball has very mixed reviews from the people that I've talked to about it. You either love this ball or you hate it, but it kind of depends more on your style. Again, I'll have my review for this ball linked in the description, but you can just see the difference visually between this and the Effector. Like, you can visibly see that that's a very earlier and more rounded shape, just from the pure number difference between the Effect and that Mesmerize. But yeah, that's the top part of my bag where I have this when the Effect Tour is a little too over under and I need something that's a little smoother off of the spot and not as jerky or a little more responsive like the Effector is. That's when this one comes out. And this ball, this is my second one of these, and I've loved both of them in the time I've thrown them. Ooh, little light mixer there. Yeah, but for me, this ball is probably one of the best ASIM solids I've drilled. And I've heard people say that they've hated the ball or that they loved it. I love this thing, but I've heard very mixed things about it. But I've had a lot of success with that one, and that's why it is my strongest ball in my college bag. We're going to step into the cleaner stuff. So this one I actually drilled recently. I don't know if the video's out as of the time you're seeing this, but the Hammer Black Widow Mania is the third ball in my college arsenal. Now, this is a step down from my Mesmerize, I know they're about the same core strength, but in terms of where they are in the bag, so I'm going to throw this off of the same spot with the Mesmerize, just to try and see what the difference is. It should be a little longer and a little cleaner down lane. Yeah, like I said. And I threw that not nearly as good as that shot with the Mesmerize, but it was around the same. And you can just see that it had more length, a little cleaner, wrap the 10. So that just tells me that the ball is a little cleaner. So I'm going to get a touch softer in that same location. And just to see if that makes a world of difference. Same spot, just a little slower. It's just even though it has that big gas mask core that's found in all the Widow balls, that cover, because that's the same cover that's on the Hammer Effect, and that cover is already super clean, and with this core, helps it read a little earlier and lock up in the middle. So yeah. I've only had this thing for a little while now. We'll get one more shot with it in here. And the handful of times that I've thrown it, this thing is just so continuous down lane. Like, it forces me further left than that Mesmerize, which is a good thing, especially when that thing starts to get a little too unpredictable down lane. Oh, damn. But yeah, you can see that's the third ball in terms of progression from fresh to burn. This is that in-between ball. So it'll go Effector, fresh, urethane is in that same window too. And then it goes Mesmerize, and then it would go this Widowmania as the third ball in terms of the progression. So now getting into the fourth ball in my college ball arsenal, that's going to be the Hammer Anger. And I don't know if you've noticed a trend in my bag, but almost all of my college balls are Hammer. Because you have the Effector, Widowmania, this, and the Purple Hammer. That's 4. And then my other 2, including my spare ball, which is a T-Zone, it's the Mesmerize. So it's 4 Hammer balls and 2 Brunswick balls. I mean, the Hammer balls look really good on the collegiate stuff, at least. So we are going to stay in the same spot as we were with that Widowmania, just to see what the difference is. I know it doesn't look like there's not much of a difference right now, just because of the fact that we are on a pretty beat up house shot. I don't know exactly how old these lanes are, but with the difference I have in drilling between the Widowmania and that Hammer Anger is pretty significant. I mean, the pins are only half of an inch difference, which only makes an nth degree difference. But that's a 4-inch pin to grip. This is a 5-inch pin to grip. So just off of that, this one's already going to want to read earlier because the core wants to flip over faster than that one. But with the longer pin, it still makes it want to not flare nearly as much. So it still wants to get down lane, but it also doesn't go dead sideways or miss its hook spot down lane. Like, kind of see, like, granted I did miss out on that, but still, like, with that 5-inch pin to grip, it leaks right, but then it just burns up. And so, good example of missing wide on a shot like that. We're going to throw one more shot with the Anger and try not to leak it nearly as far right as the shot before it. Just a good quality shot. And a little mixer. Yeah. I mean, I have this ball drilled to be basically sliding in the gutter cap, and just with how the lanes are today, that's not really going to be an option for me. But yeah, so in terms of progression with the college arsenal, I'm not going to throw urethane just because there's no need to for on this, but it would go urethane effect tour in that first slot, is like first ball out of the bag, and that's mesmerize, widowmania, and then the hammer anger. So that's my college arsenal. Now we're gonna move into, because I'm bringing 12 balls down to college, and we just went through the first 6, include with everything, including the T zone and the purple, which I'm not throwing. So now we're gonna go into like, we're gonna call them like spot holders, where I'm bringing these down for like a very specific case. So the first one that falls into that category is the deviate troublemaker. Now, the guys from college, you already know, it's kind of like a gimmick with me in this ball. I kind of bring it everywhere. But for me, this ball has just matched really well, specifically this one in particular. So give it a look right here. Oh my God. I don't know how to react after that. But yeah, like you can just see, like, granted that's a hybrid cover stock and like a medium strength core, but just the versatility that you have with this ball for two-handers is kind of ridiculous, because I've had 2 of these. One's drilled closer to how my anger's drilled, and then this one's just the standard benchmark layout. But even then, you can just see, like, this is probably the most versatile piece for two-handers that they've made. Sad that they discontinued it, but we're gonna throw another shot here. Try and repeat it just like that one. Yeah, I think that ball kind of explains itself right there. I have that as like either a fill-in benchmark depending on the center that we're at, or I might bring that to league if we're on like easier stuff, or just the tier 2s that we bowl in. We can bring as many as we want. So that ball will come in the car with me to a tier 2 event when we're not limited to how many balls that we can bring. The next ball that's going into that like filler category is another deviate ball in the deviate heckler. Now, this is the ASIM two-hander ball that deviate made, and kind of the same thing with this one. I've kind of thrown this to see if it'll take the mesmerize out of my bag. As of right now, the answer is no, but I also haven't thrown this enough on patterns to see what it's going to fully offer me. I mean, that core itself is not the strongest thing on the planet. It is said that it's the strongest ball a two-hander is going to need, and I can kind of see why they say that, just because if you look at Deviate's drilling info, with all the, because they have the troublemakers, the hecklers, and the dark side all on there, it shows the post drilling numbers for all of these, and you can just see how strong you can make this heckler. So we're gonna move a little bit off of that last shot because I have kind of burned a little bit of a track in here, and we're just gonna see if we can get a little better of a hit. That was not that good off my hand. Wow. So a slightly better shot with the heckler. I know I missed out a significant amount right there. Still trying to keep it somewhat inside with what the lanes are. So, but even then, this thing recovered at 9 pin, so it stored a good amount of energy with that shot. That's better. Yeah, like I've used this thing a little bit. I shot almost 900 for 4, throwing the troublemaker and this ball. It was on a 4-to-1, I think. I don't fully know what the pattern was, but this thing gives me a lot of room. And I might end up drilling another one of these, either weaker or stronger, to get a comparison of them. But like, I just put my standard ASIM layout on this thing, and this thing's flaring almost the whole circumference of it. So yeah, placeholder number 2 is Deviate Heckler. So the third ball that's going into that placeholder category is same thing. I don't know if the video's after this yet, but the Outer Limits Pearl. Now, this is another one of those balls that you either hear good things or bad things about it. I don't hate this thing, but there have been times it has been a little spotty for me. So, same thing. We're going to stay in the same spot that you were in with the Heckler and see what the difference is. Not terrible shape. It's in that same window where that Widow Mania is, like that big ASIM pearl. You throw it after your ASIMs. When you start having a little hook spot that you can throw it to, that's where this piece is going to fit in. And compared to the Widow Mania, it's definitely an earlier piece, a little less continuous, not a little less continuous. Where'd my ball go? That's what I was saying about this ball. It's in that same window as the Widow Mania is, where it's a big ASIM pearl, but I found this one to be a little earlier than the Widow Mania. Then again, this cover stock is, I'm pretty sure it's only HK. There is no other additive, whereas the Widow has the cohesion in it, so that could also explain the earliness of this one. Yeah, like that's the thing I found with that ball. If I get a little too much tilt into it, it kind of just wants to shoot through everything. It doesn't actually want to like pick up. So we'll get one more shot with it once the lane resets. Now the lane's reset, we're gonna get one more shot with the Outer Limits Pearl. And yeah, just see what it looks like. Yeah, it's just an earlier and more forward piece in that Mania. The Mania is going to be more angular downlane. So depending on what I need is for a tournament, because we bought a bunch of different centers, is if I need something that's going to be earlier because the center hooks a lot to begin with, then I'd probably go with that. Or depending on if we can get the grass or not, if I need something that's going to be a little cleaner through the early friction, then I'll go to the Mania. But yeah, so this is going to be placeholder ball number 2, Outer Limits Pearl. That's going to do it for my main tournament ball, like the ones I know I'm going to throw in tournaments. The next 3 is my league stuff. So I'm bringing this down specifically if I decide if I'm bowling league or if I'm going to bowl like house shot sweepers and that stuff. So the first ball that's going to be in that bag is the Stealth Hybrid. And this is drilled very clean. This is my quote-unquote pin and down drilling, which I'll explain in a later video. But we're going to throw this on the same spot as all those other balls and just see the difference. Oh my goodness. With this one, even though, so like, just like to see what I'm talking about, I know it's not actually pinned down because my fingers aren't here, but I'll explain more of this in another video. But you can see this ball doesn't flare a whole lot, and this is going to come with me, especially because the center that we bowl at hooks a lot, and I know I'm going to need, especially if I'm bowling like sweeper events, or if I do end up bowling a league, I'm going to need stuff that's not going to want to hook as early as all the college stuff. So that's where this ball is going to come in. Yeah, like you can kind of see it where it doesn't really, it's kind of just round and flat off of it, which is not terrible, at least right now, where like I just kind of need something that's going to not be unpredictable. And this thing has been very predictable for me. So we're going to get one more Or cheat a board in. Get a touch more head oil and go from there. Oh, leak hit. But yeah, that ball is just, it's drilled very stable. It's not gonna boomerang off the back like some of the other balls I have. Like that thing's just so predictable. It might sneak its way into an actual tournament bag, just depending. Like that's a tier 2 ball probably. But besides that, yeah, stealth hybrid. Now, I am putting a note now. The shots you might see now aren't going to be the greatest because I haven't fixed this ball yet. Because this ball I drilled before I switched everything over the vacuums, and I just haven't put vacuums in this thing yet. But if you know, you know, the Track Paragon. Yeah, so I just haven't had a chance to put vacuums in it as the time of filming this video. So I'm just gonna fingertip it and kind of hope that I can make it work. I don't throw fingertips, so let's just see what it looks like. Oh my god. Get the 7 out. I'd say not bad for not having any hand in the ball. But yeah, that's going to be my ASIM option for League, where the stealth hybrid might not be even though it's a big core, it's a hybrid cover stock. I match pretty well with hybrid cover stocks. There might be a moment where it won't be enough for what I need, or just the lanes are tricky that day and I need something that's going to pick up a little earlier. That's when this ball would come out of the bag as like a slightly earlier good League option. I'm not going to throw too many shots at this because I don't really like the feeling of fingertip. I'm going to fix this ball afterwards. So try and strike here. That has a chance. Oh, and it split the 8-9. See, I'm done throwing that ball just because it, like you can like I go like about this deep and I'm only getting like about that much into the ball. But yeah, one of the legendary balls from the Brunswick line. So yeah, League ball number 2, Track Paragon. The final ball in my League arsenal is another track ball. It's a Track Stealth Pearl. Now, this ball has actually made an appearance in a tier 1. For the guys that were on the team last year, Collegiate Club Nationals, this ball made an appearance. I don't think I ever threw it in comp, but it looked really good in the practice session. So, yeah, this is League ball number 3, and let's give this one a look. Wow, that was a loud one. But yeah, so it's the same area as that Stealth Hybrid, but it's a more length just with the fact that it's a Pearl cover stock. But that one's drilled my old burn layout. So in theory, it was supposed to go a little longer, but then it ended up, but this one just flares so much. And with how early the cover stock is, just kind of didn't really do what I needed to do for patterns. But for a house shot, I could see this being a very viable option. So, throw another shot here. Yeah, we hit the OB. But yeah, like just the stealths in general, like they've been good for a very long period of time, and these are the only 2 that I've ever drilled. I never drilled the solid. I haven't drilled the stealth mode yet. I don't know if I'm going to or not, but these stealths just have looked good on everything. So yeah, we're gonna get one more shot. I'm gonna move back to where we were before. Oh, got the 5 out. But yeah, you can see that these 3 are going to be my go-to like league / easy stuff patterns where I have, we're on the house shot, the 10 to 1, the 11 to 1. They aren't super challenging where I can get away with kind of throwing whatever. And I just want stuff that's going to be a little smoother off of the break points and not as jerky. That's when this or these other 2 would come in. So yeah, that's going to do it for my league bag and for my arsenal in general. So you see the 12 that I'm bringing. There is 2 that I didn't throw today that I will also end up bringing, one of them being the purple hammer. Enough said right there. And then I'm also going to throw a black hammer in the car and bring that down just because in case there's a regional event or we're experimenting with something, I have the 2 urethanes to play around with. And then T-zone, because every bowler needs a spare ball, cannot preach that enough. Spares are what wins everything. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell so that you don't miss a video. And yeah, see you next time.